Yo, yo,
And we're
yo.
live. What up,
We
Jake?
are. How you doing, bro?
I'm doing good. You got
Hell
two
yeah.
live Jews here on a Sunday, this Father's Day,
That's right. That's so true. And for me and Casey, it's more of a stepfather's day. That's kind of our role, I would say.
which I would argue is probably
Harder
I
job.
want to say it's a harder job than being a father, only in the
More
sense that
difficult.
you get all the responsibilities of it, but like none of the praise that goes along with it. And you get hit with well, you're not my real dad. So like regular dads don't have to deal with that, you know?
Yes. Yes. That
I
part.
mean, it's a role that is not enviable. Let me just put it that way.
Yeah.
I don't envy anybody in that position, but I think I did a pretty good job being a stepfather to Zach. You know, I came into his life when he was like 7, and you know, now he's in his 30s and he's doing the job that he'd love to do. He's on his own. He's financially independent.
He's
You
got
know,
his own
so
place. Yeah. He's
yeah,
doing
yeah, he's
good.
got his own place.
Got a
He's
dog. Yeah. He's
doing
happy.
got a dog, got a job doing tattoos, which is what he loves to do.
That's
Uh,
awesome.
so you know, stepfathers can succeed too.
For sure.
Yeah,
It's a harder task, but it's doable. Yeah.
absolutely, absolutely.
It's kinda
So
like when you're the vice president, and then you have to take over and be the president in the middle of the term.
yeah,
You're like, "Well, we'll see how this goes."
Like Kamala Harris should have done if she was worth a damn. Like you know,
Mm,
we all knew Biden had dementia. If she was smart, she would have stepped into that position. Kind of like
yeah,
Vance is doing with Trump right now. Like I feel like Vance is making some power plays that you could go, oh, I see what's going on here. He's the reasonable one. You know,
yeah.
like whereas
But you
Kamala
think he's
Harris
being
just
like Dick Cheney? You think Vance is I'm glad
no,
we're segueing into politics, this is interesting.
well,
I've got some thoughts on this.
I think that Vance is making himself known that he's like an actual contender for the next presidential race. I'm like, he's
Yeah.
going and he's doing all the media tours and shit. Whereas Kamala Harris just sort of like drank, hid in the background, and didn't really like it really wasn't even noticeable that she was the vice president
Yeah.
until she did something dumb,
Well, I would
you
just
know?
like to point out, Casey, that she invited every American to the barbecue, and it's not her fault you didn't come.
Well, I would also like
I'm
to
just
point out
being dumb.
that the blackness of Kamala Harris is definitely debatable. Like I was
Casey
around
is
and
actually
alive.
blacker than Kamala Harris.
Dude, I think you're
Like, it's
blacker than Kamala
undisputable.
Harris. You know, like seriously, dude, she was the
Uh,
first Indian senator elected to the
yeah,
Senate when she got put in, and then it was like a couple years later, we're supposed to pretend she's black, and then
I
she'd
know.
lean into it, but it was like you're saying all the wrong things. Like you're like Indian facing black people.
Yeah,
You know, it's
yeah.
just
This is a
crazy.
reverse 7-Eleven that you're pulling right now.
Yeah. It was like, wait, I thought the thing with her and black people was locking them up for like weed. And then all of a
Right,
sudden she's like,
yes.
no, no, I'm one of
As
y'all.
teenagers, yeah. Get them when they're yeah, Kamala Harris, in case people don't know, locked up as prosecutor in California, she locked up a number of, children of color for selling marijuana and would
Yeah, she
famously
was
let white people go unprosecuted.
yeah, they hated her. They hated her. And then like it's amazing. That
Despised.
shows you the power of the media though, doesn't it?
Yeah.
They're like, no, she's black. Like, come on. Wait, she was Indian before. Well, why
It
can't
is
she be both?
interesting. Yeah, they did sort of shoehorn that in there.
Yeah.
And also it is weird because like it shouldn't. I think the women they're trying to pivot from the woman thing because every
Yeah.
time we get too excited about a woman in charge, it's not going to happen. People are like, "Dudes rock. We're not doing this." Like,
Yeah, and like Hillary, I think Hillary would have sabotaged it if there was any chance of
should have
winning.
blown it so bad. I mean, Trump is like an egomaniac, and I disagree with a lot of his decisions, but I actually understand why he makes most of the decisions. It's usually either for money or ego. And like, I can understand why you would behave that way. I don't get like Hillary's like satanic,
Power.
pedophilic motivations. Yeah. Like,
Yeah,
who
it's
lets their
straight power.
husband go to Epstein Island for 30 years? As part of this like long con to be president. Like what kind of like Faustian deal with the devil is that? You know?
It's a crazy one. Hey, hold on one second. I gotta pull the
Yeah,
fan a
you're
little
good,
closer
man.
because my
You're good.
computer's overheating.
I got man, this is water anyway. I want my soda.
One of these days I'll get some
I'm
AC
back.
up in here. One of these days I'll get some AC in this garage. Until then, I got the
One of these
fan.
days. No, you're just
Yeah,
trying to
or I'll move it inside. I get my house, I've got too many animals for it to be quiet, and like the one room that I could do it in is the room, the office right before you get to the outside, which the
Yeah.
animals are always at that door. So
That's
yeah,
terrible. You can't do anything cool in the office.
it's
You
tough being
can't
a
look at
Jew.
porn in the office. The animals are watching. You can't podcast in the office. It's
That's
crazy.
right. Now Danielle can podcast in the office, but she has
Really
control of the animals.
unreal.
So
Isn't
yeah,
that a weird
it's
thing that the women have that they just sort of seem to be able to boss the animals around? But when we ask can I move dog? And they'll be in our spot, by the way, on the bed. And they'll be like, no, let's just leave him. He's cute. It's like, where do
yeah,
I sleep?
well, the dogs follow her everywhere, but when she does
Yes.
the podcast, they will just sit outside the door and wait
They
patiently
just
for her.
know. Yeah.
If I'm in there, they'll want to be where she's at, which is going to be outside, but then they don't want to be outside all the time. They like to go out and come
They
in
like
and
to visit, don't they?
yeah, they don't behave well for me, which
Yeah.
is messed up. I feel like, maybe
You've put
maybe
in the
my
time and the work. Yeah,
maybe
this
my
is not
animals are
cool.
anti-Semitic, or maybe it's that she feeds them every day and controls the food.
I do
Like,
think it has to do with food supply because, like,
probably
yeah, it's got to
probably
come
more
down
than
to
the
that.
Jew thing.
Probably the cats are not anti-Semitic.
The dog prosciutto it's on the fence. She's
The
she's been a
dog,
Jewish
I could
friend of
see a
mine.
dog being anti-Semitic or racist.
Yeah,
I feel like you can train that. The cats are just like they don't care about people's opinions. I feel like they wouldn't learn racism. You know,
yeah, yeah.
just
And
seems like a stretch.
my cats are the flat faced ones. They're Persians. You've seen them, like But when they want to go in and out, man, dude, they're extremely loud. Like they'll start crying at the door. They start scratching. They're bitching over everything.
So
You
is it
know.
tough for you to have Persian cats with the Iranian war going on? Do you feel like you've got some spies in your house?
Yeah, kinda.
Yeah.
Like
I don't trust these foos.
they give me those looks sometimes where I'm like, "What's going on? You in bed with the Ayatollah?"
Yeah, what are you
you know,
planning here? Let me see your search history.
you'll wake up and like one of them staring right in your face, and you're thinking, "Are they thinking evil things?" What?
Yeah.
Why is he so close? Is he trying to
Those
like whisper
green
something in my
unblinking
ear?
eyes, yeah. What do
really
they
wide,
know?
really wide eyes. Like
Yeah,
they're conspiring, and they're conspiring animals. Like
they
cats
are.
are cats do conspire to do things.
Oh,
So I've got two Persians, and there's only one Jew in this house.
yeah.
I mean, yeah, you gotta
It's
gotta
tough. They're
wonder.
definitely they're working with the Italians in your house to get after the Jews.
The Italians and the Persians versus the
They're
Jew.
teaming up, bro.
The Jew
Ancient
stands
enemies
alone.
uniting against a common foe.
Yep. One wrong move. And that could be it. I'm surrounded here.
Oh shoot! Wow,
Ah.
that's pretty good. That's
So
Game of Thrones. I guess.
speaking of women, what do you think of green card marriages?
Yes, I'm so happy you brought this up. So I recently encountered this while doom scrolling on the internet, and it's just like it's an interesting thing. So I was actually I don't know how I came across this when doom scrolling, but if you're familiar with Bonnie Blue or who's the other one
Oh,
that looks the same, Lily
oh,
Phillips, they're the same chick to me. They're both the same amount of disgusting and horrible. And so one of them was finding out about a green card marriage. And, the guy it was funny because the guy started out with, like she was like, "Shouldn't someone pay to marry me?" And then he was like, "Come on." Like,
not
and
those
then
girls.
come on,
Isn't there a thing like I've had sex with 1,000 men in
Yeah, isn't
24
there
hours?
like a mileage warranty thing where, like, you don't have to pay best to cer it's considered,
That's
like, scrap it's like lumber at that point, and it's not I don't know.
Yeah, that's not the win you think it is, ladies. Like,
Yeah,
nobody wants to marry somebody whose claim to fame is I've had sex with 1,000 guys in 24
right.
hours. It's like
That's where it starts.
that's kind of
And then it
like
gets worse, and this guy basically just points out that, like, she would be lucky to pay a guy 30 grand to marry her in a green card marriage. Like, that's probably best
yeah,
case, and even she agrees, like, "Yeah, I'd probably do that." It's like, yeah, because you have no other prospects. You probably were a high value woman at some point, and then you embarked on this thing that completely ruined your value and your morality and your standing, and then, like, yeah, you'd be lucky to scrape a green card marriage. That's the best marriage you could hope for, but
yes, you're you could maybe marry like I don't know, maybe an Indian guy will marry you. Like I'm just saying
maybe.
it's when your whole life is just like I want to be as raunchy as possible publicly and flaunt like I don't know, just like this obscene promiscuity where it's like, look,
Yeah.
we all know that like there's very few virgins out there, right? Most people are getting laid like at high school or after high school.
Yeah,
You
and that's
probably slept with
fine.
a few people, but when you're like, hey, I want to try to get 1,000 in a day and
Yeah.
film it and monetize it. And the worst part is encourage other women to do it. It's like, yo, that's kind of evil because
That is
you're
like downfall of America and
that
society.
absolutely
And
like
it is
that's
the
where
sort of thing sorry.
I think that's where it's like, yo, the pendulum is swung too far in the other direction, because you have these people that are like, oh, especially in the red pill community, that's like, oh, don't marry a girl unless she's a virgin. It's like, let's be realistic, guys. Come on. Like, first of all, you aren't a virgin. And
Or
second of
you
all,
shouldn't be,
like,
like, really? You're
like,
gonna wait till okay,
like
yeah.
that's not the only way that that's happening is like I don't know if you're doing it in a country where women have no rights. Like I don't know, Pakistan, that's probably possible, where you're
Yeah.
buying your bride. But I don't want to live in that country. The other side of the pendulum is, hey, let's have sex with 1,000 people and make money
Yeah.
off of it, and then be like, but don't criticize me because
Yeah.
that's misogynist. It's like, no, it's actually like misogynist not to criticize
And
that because I think you should have more value than
yeah,
just like being you're an object at that point willingly.
for
Like
sure.
it's just crazy. It's just
Yeah.
crazy. Yeah. The
I
whole
think
marriage dating thing is fucked up these
it's
days.
so bad right now, and, like, that's not to say there aren't exceptions. You can figure out, you can find good relationships. Casey and I are both in good relationships. It's not impossible to do that, but, like, it is harder. People like those are making it worse. And
Absolutely.
it's hard to like you'll see like, red pilled people or like radical Islamists be like, death to America. And it's like, well, Americans like that, like it's hard to argue. Like they are a waste of space. Like if they exist to lower standards for people and destroy the moral fabric of America, like I mean, I'm against murder, but like I appreciate the sentiment. Like people like that are horrible. Like, and
Yeah.
so it
And I
is and it's causal a little bit. Like, I don't really think that people would freak out about the collapse of morality if morality wasn't collapsing. Are they
correct.
overreacting to it? Are they using violence as a response when that's not the needed response? Sure. You shouldn't get violent, whether you're an incel or a Muslim terrorist. Violence is not the answer. But they are identifying a problem. Like morality is collapsing in the West, you know?
Yeah.
And
The
it has been.
pendulum needs to swing in it swung too hard into the debauchery
Yeah.
and it not
Ball
and
of
the
Rome.
problem is yeah, exactly. And the problem is it's like it's got to settle somewhere in the middle.
Yes.
And unfortunately the way that society seems to swing is either you're going to go like hard right or hard left and
Yeah.
it's the extremes that pull it. I think the hard left
And
has
they
pulled
cause it.
for
It's causal. The hard
yes.
left doesn't realize they're causing the hard right to mess things up.
They
If
have
you
no
just stayed
idea.
in the middle, there wouldn't be this action reaction pendulum. They don't realize it's causal. But you can just
No,
stop at any point and we'll all sort of tend to crash together towards the middle again and resettle. If we keep veering off sharply, it's just going to
right.
keep being causal.
And in order to do that, you're going to have to give up some things. Like, sorry, drag queen story hour got to go away. I can't get behind anybody defending that. It's like, look, man,
Or at
there are
least
certain
federal
things
funding for drag
there
queens.
there are
Like, we
certain
gotta
things
lose
that
that.
look, drag queens are completely about sexuality. They don't need to be in front of kids. It's like
Yeah.
like that's the way that I see it. My
Yeah,
my
or on
view is
TV that a kid could see.
what's
Yeah.
that?
Or on TV a kid could see.
Yeah, yeah. It doesn't need to be.
Or to be
And
on
and the
NPR and federally funded,
that's
We don't
crazy.
need to pay for those stories, I'm sorry. Like, I
Yeah,
don't want
and
my tax dollars going there.
the radicals don't seem to understand, like you said, that they're causing the backlash and they don't ever want to make concessions. And the strangest thing that I find is I really want to know because I'm generally interested. I'm genuinely interested. What does your perfect society look like? Is it like a genderless orgy that goes on where everybody just gets mansions and nobody
Where does it
works?
end?
Like, right. What is it? Because I don't see I don't I've looked into like communist societies. I've spent a lot of time reading about those societies. They don't seem like they ever reach utopia. It just ends up being a lot of murdered people,
Yeah.
and I think
It's just
it's
how much blood before the revolution ends. The revolution
correct.
never succeeds. It's just when people decide there's enough loss of life.
The revolution goes on forever, and,
Yeah.
like, if you think that Mamdani is gonna be the leader of your revolution, it's like, well, first of all, pick a better leader, but second of all, what is he's a rich kid. He's the rich that he's rallying against. You realize that, like, you idiots don't realize.
Yeah.
He's the rich. He's the rich. Ask anybody in, like,
Yeah.
I don't know, ask anybody living in the Sudan if they'd trade positions with Mamdani or they feel Mamdani's an oppressor. Of course
Yeah.
he is. He's got
Yeah.
way he's got more money than you and I do,
So much.
so but I don't wanna eat him, you know? I just
Yeah.
think his ideas suck.
I think
That's
his
all.
ideas suck. I would really hope that he gets removed from office, but like, I get mad at him the way I get mad at Trump, where it's just like, oh, that's a terrible decision. That's another
Yeah,
terrible decision. Oh,
we're
you're
gonna
on the
have to
far
see
right.
that
Oh,
one
you're
out.
on the far left. Yeah. And it's like we could all just get a little closer to the middle and things would get a lot easier for everybody. But
Right. We
you
go
know,
back to America in the 1990s. That was like, honestly, I feel like since I've been alive, late 90s, early 2000s were like, dude, that was peak civilization.
we're
We
still
had
listening to the music from then and
yeah,
watching The
because
Sopranos and South Park. Everything was peak then. It didn't get better than that.
yes, it did not. It crashed after that. And
Yeah.
that's when, like, I feel like the start of Obama, things were still good. It was like around his second term where I think that was where we hit the all right, shit's starting to go downhill. BLM
Mhm.
started under him, which I think was a net force for evil. I will never get behind anything BLM did. I think they hurt black people more than they hurt anybody else. Didn't make race relations any better. And that's when this gender nonsense started happening, where it's like, look, if you're an adult, you want to be transgender, have at it. I think that was the mindset of most people. Like, I think it's weird. I don't get it, but I don't want to prevent you from doing it. I I thought that that came along with the agreement that, like, you're not going to be in the bathroom with my daughter, like, and that started under Obama as well,
Yeah.
and
And
then,
when did we become the crazy people for being like, "Whoa,
yeah,
like, hang on a minute, I'm the asshole for thinking that?"
I,
That's an interesting turn.
and I think when you do it on kids, it's like, no, 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 that's child abuse. Like,
Yeah.
they'll grow out of it. Like, why can't we go back to goth and like punk and like, hey, your rebellious stage was, I don't know, changing your hairstyle instead of
Yeah.
chopping off your penis.
Wearing leather, shooting your classmates with a shotgun, things we can relate to.
I would take the Columbine part out of the 90s.
I
That
know, I'm just doing
yeah,
it.
the school shootings we could do without, but
I know.
still, yeah, back to the era of reason, because the gender stuff isn't
Uh,
working out. I feel like it's only made people crazier, and it's made people want to do things simply to get under other people's skin. Like,
Yes.
look, man, you've got a beard and tits, and you want me to call you a girl? Like, that this isn't a
I thought you were
reality.
talking to me for a
You're
second. I was like, "I know I have a beard. No tits, no shit."
like, I feel
This
like these
pink
people
shirt is
gotta
bullshit.
know. I feel like they've gotta know that this isn't acceptable, and yet
Yeah.
everybody's supposed to play along, or you're a bigot. It's like, no, I'm not
I
a
can have
bigot.
my own
I just
opinion.
yeah,
Maybe
I'm
that.
not on board with
Yeah.
that, and that doesn't mean I hate you. That just means I'm not playing this game.
Yeah.
Like, most people just want to avoid that altogether, but they seem hell bent on like forcing other people to accept it, and that's where I draw the line. It's like, boom, you've gone too far. All the stuff that the far right people are doing now seems completely justified. You did it, not me. you
Yeah.
know. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's a crazy world. It is a crazy world. And of course, who do they blame?
Right.
The Jews. We get blamed for
Somehow
everything.
both
So
sides, yeah, always like, "And you
the
know whose
horseshoe
fault it
theory.
is?" It's like, hang on.
Blame the Jews. And
Uh,
I look, we're an easy target.
we're blamable.
We're-
I get it.
yeah, we're an
We are a
easy target.
scapegoat. Yeah.
Like, and that does seem, as much as I hate the stereotype it is, but it does seem to go along with history. Like, the canary is in the coal mine is when people start like openly wanting to kill Jewish people,
And
and
doing it in
and
public, in America, all over the world.
unfortunately that does happen, and it's like that's a sign of a sick society, I believe.
Damn
like
right.
that's
Yeah.
and you see it like on the far right and on the far left. You will see that they come to the same conclusion. They're like, it's the Jews.
Yeah,
It's like,
it's
well,
actually the Jews.
it might be some of them, but it's not all of us. Like, and
Yeah,
that's the thing. Like, I don't know about you, but I don't get invited to these secret meetings where we plan evil and are
I
like,
know.
hey,
I
let's
love
do this week,
there's a great Jon Stewart quote where he goes, "I'm not on the weather committees. I'm also not in charge of the banks. They hesitated about even having me in charge of bagel flavors."
Now,
Which is
if you're
like a good
against
way to
like
put it.
if you could, I feel like a better way to go about it would be like, hey, why don't you be against Netanyahu? How can we be like, hey, that Jew?
Anti-president,
Yeah,
not
like
anti-Jew. Yeah,
I'm
let's get
anti
specific.
that Jew.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Why is
exactly. Because
why are we the only group you can generalize about, right? If you went all trans people are da, 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 problem. If you went all any other group, put any other group in there besides Jews, huge problem. But if you go all Jewish people are short, or all Jewish people are good with money, or any of these stereotypes, people just get away with saying it all the time, and it's just like
yeah,
kind of weird. Like,
yeah, I think more and more. Well, and I am seeing more and more of like this hatred of whites in the same way from some of the radicals. Like I don't know the subject I brought up last week. I'm just gonna segue into it for a minute here. The Carmelo Anthony thing.
yeah,
Some of the reactions that came after that are just like the only way to put it is fucking crazy. Like you have people out there screaming at the family whose son just died that they're
yeah,
like somehow they get I almost looked at it as like, wow, these black activists are doing like they're the Jews. Like, oh, their
yeah.
son should have known better than to put his hands on a black man. It's like, look, man, he was asked to leave 15 times. Did the kid shove him? Yeah. But is that a death sentence? Like, we know that's not a death sentence. He wasn't
Yeah, and
in an alleyway. It
doesn't this
was like
feel like
midday
our
at a track meet.
generation's? Does this feel like our generation's version of OJ to you? A
Kind
little
of.
bit.
Kind of.
It's
Yeah.
pretty
Like,
wild because it's like so clearly a race issue, but we're not allowed to say it is, and it's so clearly going to be decided on race, but we're not
well,
allowed to talk about it. Like it's going to be the same thing.
Well, I think the case is already decided. He's guilty.
Okay.
Like and the way I knew that he was going to be found guilty was that I read the court transcripts and I also noticed that like you didn't see the usual suspects like the Al Sharptons and the Ben Crumps sniffing around. It's like this is a very clear case of like this is a very clear case of this black kid stabbed a white kid. I would even go so far as saying that might not have been racially motivated. I feel like he would have stabbed anybody, but it was the people's reaction afterwards, mainly coming from the black people, that made it about race. And I think
Okay.
what their argument is that well, they just found him guilty because there was no black people on the jury, and it's like yeah, because you guys said that you wouldn't find him guilty simply because he's black. Like, and it
Yeah.
wasn't a jury of all white people either. It was like there were some white people, there was an Indian, some sort of Asian guy. Like there were other people, not just
That's
white
what happened with
people.
OJ too, is
Oh,
white
yeah,
people were just not gonna vote guilty for OJ,
right.
and it's like, I mean, that's
J-
fucked up. I would have voted guilty for Epstein. Like,
Yeah,
I would have voted guilty for Woody Allen. Any of the Jewish people that you think have done bad things, I don't think about them as Jews anymore. I think about them as criminals. And I don't
yeah.
go, hey, everybody's gonna generalize this to me. If they do that, they're anti-Semites. I can't think like that. I have to think about like the actual criminal details of a case and like right and
The
wrong. It's
objectivity.
really
Yeah,
interesting. I mean, this was true of R. Kelly. This was true of Bill Cosby, where they were just like, I'm not going to say, I'm not going to vote him guilty. It's like, really? Like,
yeah. You got like the tribalism is kind of crazy,
yeah,
and it's not all like I would certainly
it's not
say
100%.
it's
Yeah.
not all black people, but it was a lot more than I think anybody thought it was going to be, and they were super vocal about it. And
Yeah.
the way I see America is that like it is not this racist hellhole where white people are just oppressing black people everywhere they go.
Yeah. It's not one
Actually, if
sided.
if you're on the subway, I would say it's the exact
Yeah.
opposite.
Have you
You
heard of
know,
knockout games? Have you heard,
yeah. So
like,
so
have you
like
lived in the inner city during the crack era? Like,
so
there are
yeah.
definite, it's
Let's
not one
be
sided.
honest. Yeah,
Yeah.
let's just be honest. It's like, we know it's a thing. It's not all, but It's a
Yeah.
lot. Like on the
Has
subway,
anyone has anyone shouted at you, "Are you racist?" before trying to mug you? Like,
has
this isn't this one-sided thing where
has
only
yeah
one people are bad, you know?
has anybody threatened you with death if you tell them to like, hey, could you turn the music down on the
Yeah.
subway? Like I could describe that
That'd be
situation and you
show
know right
timing.
away. Oh,
Yeah.
that's a sun man. Like that's gonna be a
Yeah.
black guy.
Have you
And
ever asked somebody to not Showtime on top of your seat and they try to kill you?
sir, could you
You please
please
not
tell your
Showtime
girlfriend to
on me.
stop twerking on my hood? Like, and I think what the country
Uh,
needs, what society needs is honesty. Like
yeah.
black people, you got to admit that like you weren't going to convict that kid, and you also got to admit that a shove is not a death sentence because we're the races reversed, and like we're the races reversed, and Carmelo was the kid that got stabbed, and Austin was the stabber. I don't think you'd find a bunch of white people being like,
Lock him
yeah,
up. Yeah,
yeah,
I
it
don't
was
give a
self
shit.
defense. It's like no, a
Yeah.
shove doesn't
I have
equal a
no
death sentence.
tribalism
Period.
for my fellow
No,
whites or whatever. Yeah, that's not like a thing, I think. I don't have like race solidarity. I feel like that's a form of racism. And it
yeah,
is
and it
interesting
is
to
a
see
form of
which
racism.
groups get away with that. And like, if white people do that, people are like, whoa. And
Yo,
rightfully, like, it's a weird thing. Why do you care? Like, why are you so into your group? That's really
yeah,
weird.
it's one of those things that I was hoping would go away after Obama became president, and like, he just completely exploited that. So, I still look at it as, hey, this is part of like class warfare. It's a way to go, hey, let's separate these two groups of people
Working
by
class whites from working
politicians.
class blacks. God
Yeah,
forbid the
which
two work together. Let's keep them resentful at each other.
and that's going to be like, unfortunately, I don't know if there's a solution for that because I got money on the next round of elections, and we'll have to circle back to this when it happens in the
Yeah,
Democratic primary, specifically with the Democrats. They
right.
are going, somebody's going to bring up reparations. And like, let me just tell you right now, I'm going to burst a lot of bubbles out there. Reparations will never be paid. They're going to be promised a lot, but they're lying to you. Reparations aren't getting paid. It's too, the window has closed. And anybody, like, I don't know if you've heard this one, but I've heard this arguing with people online.
Hell
Well,
yeah, you have.
Jews get
Stay woke, King.
reparations. Like, have you heard that one that we get reparations? Like,
We got him
I'm
from just Germany and only the generation of the Holocaust that was
right.
actually affected by it.
I
And then
was
their
told
kids, and that was it.
I was told that I personally get them, and I'm just thinking like, if I miss the sign up sheet, let me know.
No,
I don't get reparations, and the
yeah.
USA doesn't pay me
I
reparations for the
lost
Holocaust.
yeah, I lost 8 family members in the Holocaust. 2 of them survived. The 2 which survived received reparations from Germany. Just Germany,
Just
not the
Germany,
US, which didn't do shit to help America for like
right?
like America didn't help the Jews for the first 4 years of the Holocaust. And they came in at the last second when like we were literally eating each other and they were like, "Hey, we saved the day." It's like, I guess for a photo op, I mean, like there's still like 11 million dead people, 6 million of whom are Jewish. So like, I guess you
Right.
saved the day. So it's wild. Actually, what's wild is that Germany is the only country to pay reparations. They only did it to the direct people that survived it. I don't think even like,
Well, the U.S. did
yeah,
pay reparations to the Japanese that they had interned in the camps
yeah,
during World War II. But again, it was like it happened to those people.
yeah,
Slavery, I think the argument of slavery in the U.S., as far as I'm concerned, needs to be put to bed. We all know it was bad. Nobody's trying to do it again. There is a lot of slavery going on in the world right now. I'm looking at like Asia, Africa,
yeah.
Middle
Do you guys
East.
want to dedicate that funding to liberate the world of
Liberate
slavery?
them.
That'd
Yes,
be a
if you
cool
guys
pay it forward,
are
right? I
super
don't know.
passionate about it, let's go over there. Let's
Pay
go
your
over
money
there
where
and
your
end
mouth is. Yeah,
it.
that is an
But like,
interesting.
but over here,
Yeah,
like, I don't know any people that are. I personally don't know any people that are like, hey, let's bring it back in America. Do you?
yeah.
I mean, like,
No, and what's interesting is like it's been so many generations. With the Holocaust, Germany paid the generation that were affected by it, and then I don't even know if they paid the next generation, like the kids that of it, which you could make an argument they should have, because like my aunt Irene, her son Howie, never got past the Holocaust. Like he was just always traumatized by his mother's experience, and like And that makes sense. So, but like, how many generations are we going to claim trauma? There's this idea of intergenerational trauma, and it's like, until that's actually proven, miss me with like, oh, 10 generations ago, so therefore
Yeah.
pay me today. It's like,
And is money today, like the question I have is like, is money today, is taking money away from people that didn't own slaves and giving it to people that weren't slaves, is that going to make anybody's life better, or is it going to make things worse? And
yeah,
I got all the money I got banking on, that's going to make things way worse. I
I
think
think I know.
I think it's going to be horrible.
Yeah, I
So
think it's
like,
gonna crack. I think it'll devalue the like currency first of all.
definitely.
How
And it's
much
going to cause a
like
lot of
with interest?
resentment.
How much is that going to cost? It's just immediately going to bankrupt us. China comes for the rest. None of the reparations are now worth anything. But congrats, the U.S. economy's bottomed out. Like
Right. And
I don't know. That's
and
where I think America's headed.
everybody's at each other's throats.
Yeah,
Man, that dog is going to town on his penis in the background.
I thought he'd be cute, and he
He
had to
is
be
cute.
really good.
He is cute. He's really going to town on that thing. No,
Wait,
keep
no.
it, keep it. That's
Wait,
good.
no, I lost camera. Sorry, I don't know what
All
happened.
right.
Wait, let me log back in.
That's funny shit. Oh, what a world, what a world. We live in a very interesting country and a very interesting time. And that dog was very interesting. That's a cute dog, man. What's his
He's,
name? What's his name?
Eddie. It's a good
Eddie.
dog. He's a good boy.
He can't stop himself. Yeah, I feel like he's doing it more now. Oh, that's awesome. Penis licking
So
dog
good.
photobombing the pod. Oh, Jesus, man.
Oh, how much better is that than Lindsay coming in and ruining the podcast?
I like that a bit better. I like that a
See,
bit
at least
better.
that's a good bit. That was fun.
That was a good bit.
That was hilarious.
So comedians who died too soon. But like, what comedians? I got a list of people that I'd like to still see, but I'd like to hear
Yeah.
what you have to say first.
For
Like,
sure. I think a lot about this just because like I just always listen to comedy in my free time, and I was just thinking like probably the best comedians are all dead right now. Maybe that's sort of a hipster take, but like Norm Macdonald, you know,
Yeah.
fucking Patrice O'Neill, Bob Saget's dead, fucking Gilbert Gottfried's dead. Like most of the best people that I would have thought of, like when I was a teenager, like which is when I watched the most comedy. I just Netflix special every night, fucking, you know, I'd watch 3 hours of comedy every day, probably, unless I was doing Taekwondo. As soon as I got home from Taekwondo, I would just be doing, you know, watching Netflix and, you know, any comedy special I get my hands on. And like all the greats, I feel like are dead. I mean, Carlin's gone, Pryor's gone.
Carlin. See, I'm iffy on Carlin. Like I like George Carlin, but I kind of wonder what he'd be like today in the current
You
culture.
couldn't
Like
do it now.
I feel like, I feel like he'd sell out if he were still out today. And he either that or he'd drop out. Like I don't think he'd still
or
be
get
doing
canceled.
comedy.
Like there's so many variables, you know, like would he get Shane Gillis and like get booted off SNL, or like or would he have the nuance and finesse to be like, actually I was joking, like F you. Like it's an interesting thing.
Yeah.
You know, you had
I would like Chris Farley and John Candy. Like I know
They're
they're not like stand-up comics. But they were
I think
comedians.
Farley,
like,
you could say was a comedian. Yeah,
he
definitely
was
one of the
freaking
best
hysterical,
stand-ups,
man.
yeah.
And Chris Farley
Yeah.
was like, he was like one of a kind. And John Candy just seemed like the fat guy that you'd like to like be friends with.
That is like a cool type of fat person that's really disappeared.
Yeah,
from our
the
culture.
jolly fats.
Yeah,
Like I feel like a lot of
they're
fats now
gone.
are bitter, you know, and
Yeah.
angry.
Tim Dillon is kind of the last fun fat guy.
He's
you know?
jolly. Yeah,
Yeah,
he's
he is
jolly.
so jolly. That's the
He's a
first thing
jolly
people
fat
say
man.
about him.
You know, I
Oh,
like the
man.
jolly fat people. Like
I love Tim
that
Dillon.
that was actually a thing that Tim Dillon brought up. He's like, you know, remember when like fat people
Ralphie
were
May.
jolly,
How are we going to forget about Ralphie May? Fat dead
happy?
people. You like Ralphie May?
I can't say I know the guy you're talking about. I can't say I've
So
ever heard
funny.
anything
Oh my
by
god,
him.
so fat.
I'll have
but
to give
so
him
funny.
give him a listen.
Yeah. I love that guy. Probably the
can we
best
make-
fat comedian.
Can we make fat people jolly again?
Yeah.
Because everywhere I go
Make
that I
America
see fat
and
people,
funny.
they're like a lot of them are scowling, and they're scowling at you. Like they got that look on their face, like you're in their way.
Oh
It's like,
my god.
dude, I'm trying to get down the aisle. You've got your cart and you've got your girth taking up 3/4 of it. And if
That's
I
right.
ask you to move or tell you, excuse me, you scowl at me.
I
You
know.
know,
It's the
like, what
airplane
about
situation all over again, like, buy 2 seats.
yeah,
It's
the fats
crazy,
got I think what happened is that the fats outnumber the normals
I
nowadays.
think.
There's too many of them.
They
They
got us
overpower
outnumbered, and
us.
they're already bigger than us, so now it's
And
like
they're bigger than
yeah,
they used to be too,
they're gonna squish us,
you
and it's
know?
like, we don't wanna get squished.
I re I remember, like I remember having a conversation with my wife, and she was talking about her grandfather, and she would describe him as a fat guy, and then we were
Nice.
looking at pictures, and I looked, and I'm like, "He's really not that fat," and she's like, "I know," and we just sort of realized the
The
bar
standard
has
has changed
changed.
a lot.
Yes, like, because now there's, like, levels of fat. I don't know if you've ever looked into any, like, the fat influencer things, but
Yes.
I saw this one like Jubilee conversation where they were arguing about the categories of fat, and it was like mega fat, ultra fat, semi.
Morbidly obese is my favorite because it's just like the type that is never gonna get better.
No,
Something about the word morbidly is like so like
yeah,
yeah, I
morbidity,
just oh man, there's something
and
about it that always got me.
I feel
It's really
like
sad though, I gotta say. You guys, everybody in the comments, take care of yourselves. Don't
yeah,
get to these funny terms.
or
Don't
ghetto
reach those
like ghetto
stages.
Zempic. Like I think nowadays, like if you don't know, there is a shot that'll take the fat away, and that is Ozempic. You know,
Oh
and
yeah.
I know how easy it is to get fat because I am on my way there. Like I've recently culled my eating back a little bit, but
Yeah.
I was pushing 200. I was
Really, I
at
didn't
like
notice that.
one.
You're just tall.
I was at 199, and then I was like, all right, I gotta do something because I was eating snacks all day and I wasn't
You love
walking
to
much,
snack.
sitting
You're
on my
such a
ass.
jerky boy. You love some
Uh,
beef jerky.
uh, dude, I was eating like so. My morning routine would be I'd have like 2 cups of coffee and I'd get some
Nice.
Cheez-Its, and then they
Oh,
had
good.
like granola bars, but the kind covered in chocolate, and I'd eat like 3 or 4 of those. And I was just
Right.
eating all day
Just
long, and then
munching the whole day you're working.
I was yeah, and then coming home, my wife is a fantastic cook, so I
Yeah.
eat like everything on my plate and then what her and Isabella don't eat, and then also a second plate. And before I knew it, it's like, fuck, I'm pushing 200 pounds. So
Yeah.
I know how easy it is to get fat. And that's when you got to be like, I got to change something, you know?
Yeah.
So, like, I've been staying away from the snacks. I'm still like 188. I need to drop probably
Dude,
another
that's really good
15,
already.
15, 20 pounds. But yeah, it's amazing
Okay.
when you stop shoving your face with food and start moving a little bit. I also started walking during
Good.
the day.
Good.
Like
Exercise is
you
just
will
good for
lose
your
weight.
health and your mental health too. You'll just feel better about life. I have
Yeah.
to do some kind of exercise every day or I get depressed. I just like
Yes.
chemically I need it. The endorphins. Yeah.
Yeah. I've been doing some yard work to
Nice.
get my exercise in. And I went full bore on the backyard I'd say the last 4 weekends,
Wow. Yeah,
just
with the
in the
heat, that's a good workout.
in the trenches. Yeah. And then I cool off in the pool afterwards. And it's like
Nice. Do you
I'm
swim some
spending all
laps?
day out there. Got a nice wife beater burn.
Oh,
There it
nice. Let's see the
is.
tan.
Yeah,
Oh,
got the
hell yeah.
beater burn.
That's what's up.
So yeah, you need that. And
Yeah.
if you are a fat person or on the way to fatness, it's a
Yeah.
very you just gotta first admit
There
it,
are options. You
and
can get
then you
help.
gotta be like, what am I doing? And the two things you're probably doing are eating too much and not moving around.
Yep.
But getting pissed off at
Sedentary
other people,
lifestyle. Yeah.
getting
I
pissed
got
off
I
at
got
other
fat
people
in
for
high school.
noticing doesn't make you skinnier. Did
Yeah.
you?
I took Seroquel in high school. And so
Well,
for
that shit'll make you fat as hell.
and I was on it for
Yeah.
just junior year of high school and I got fat and I was 20 pounds overweight and then I realized it was a Seroquel. I stopped taking that. And in one summer, I lost the 20 pounds, and then I also like got like 4 or 5 inches taller too. So people thought I was like a different person. I was like short and kind of chubby, and then I came back and I was like tall and skinny.
The
You're like, what the
Yeah,
fuck
the height
happened to you?
helps.
Yeah,
The height I wish there was a way we could, like, add height, because it's, like,
oh, that
easy
would
to add
rule.
weight, but if I could do something to make myself just, like, 3 inches taller, I love that, you know?
Yeah, and and anywhere you want to apply those inches to, really, like
Yeah.
the feet or like
I could use,
anywhere. Really.
like
I can use them
'cause
anywhere.
I'm like 5'10" and a half, maybe,
Yeah,
but I'd like to
Right.
comfortably be 6 feet tall.
That'd be
And
cool.
apparently there is a surgery that you can go through where they break your
It's
legs
so
and put
painful.
metal
Yeah, I've
in.
heard about this.
Like,
Fuck.
yo, I don't want to be 6 feet tall that bad.
Well,
You
Casey,
know?
you would actually let me pitch this to you because here's the plan. You
All right,
gain okay, this is the last thing before that we end the podcast, folks.
all
We're on
right.
a hot rip.
Let's hear it.
Casey is Kensington born. And I think, Casey, you got to plan your next relapse on opiates. And I think when you relapse on opiates, you schedule yourself for the surgery ahead of the relapse, right?
Okay.
Shattering pain, right? Book yourself a hotel room 3 months. That whole 3 months, you just get to crush opiates while your legs heal. And it's just like, it's built in. You come back, like, you're skinnier, you
Oh, I'd
know,
be much skinnier.
you're gonna be way skinnier, dude. You're gonna be real tall. I think, pretty good pitch.
I'm
Shark Tank?
pretty sure I'd have a hard time
You
selling
would just
that to the
die in
wife.
that hotel room.
I'm pretty sure I'd make it like 2.5 months in that hotel room before I drop dead. Because now, like, dude, the thought of doing opiates, like, I don't think it'll ever leave me.
Yeah.
But the knowledge that, like, fentanyl is in everything really
It's
is a
ruined the
good
game.
deterrent.
Yeah.
It's a good deterrent because it's like, I don't know where to buy dope now, but even if I did, I'm pretty sure there'd be fentanyl in it.
For sure.
And
Yeah.
I have a lot of people that are sort of adjacent to me that have had horror stories with fentanyl, and I just know that
Eli has dentures from fentanyl use. He doesn't have his real teeth anymore.
because of the fetty.
Yeah. He ever
dude,
gives you
it'll do
shit,
some
be like,
damage
at
on
least
you.
I haven't got my own teeth, bro.
It'll do fentanyl. Doesn't seem like it's ever got a good outcome. So.
No.
So I guess I'm gonna stay 5'10" and not addicted to opiates and just stick with
You're
my
lost.
weed and booze.
You losers. You guys could be crushing opiates for 3 months in a hotel room, getting 3 inches taller.
3 inches,
Ruining
3
your
inches
whole
taller,
life for nothing.
3 inches taller, come out 110 pounds. Yeah, dude. When I
People will be like, Casey, were you in an internment camp?
look, I just went
What
through the
happened?
Holocaust.
Casey, was there another Holocaust?
Oh God, it was awful.
It was terrible.
Who did it? The Iranians. It was my
It was
Persians.
the Italians and the
was my-
Persians.
It was my cats. They got a hold of me. They made me do it.
Oh, shit. We're not going to
Meanwhile-
get better than that.
All right, dude. Well, on that note, I
Hell
think
yeah.
we'll end it.
That
Guys,
was
we've been
great.
Two Live Jews.
That's what's
You
up.
got any shows coming up you want to plug?
July 2nd, we got the next Warehouse Showdown.
Word.
So we'll see you there. And also, big shout out to Joe Rieger for sponsoring the podcast and all this shenanigans.
Absolutely. And thank you
Hell
to
yeah.
everybody that showed up to Charlie Foxtrot last night. Crowd
Yeah.
was a little light, but it was a great show, great time. When I have dates for the next one, I will announce it on the podcast.
Can't wait.
Until next time, adios.
Hell yeah. Later, man.
All right.
Happy Father's
Later,
Day,
brother.
bro.
Yeah, you
Stepfather's
too.
Day.
Happy Stepfather's Day. Peace.
Peace.